There are some crucial mistakes you should avoid on the road to financial success. Let's start right away with the first one. The first mistake is to neglect human capital. Your 20s are primarily the time when you build your human capital. You can then draw on this for the rest of your life. Your human capital is essentially the knowledge you acquire that forms the basis of your profession and your salary. Generally, people are paid based on their perceived value and performance. So your personal qualifications determine how much you will earn today and in the future. When we talk about capital, we distinguish between two major categories, namely assets and human capital. Especially at the beginning of your career, your assets tend to be lower, but you have a lot of energy to build up as much human capital as possible, which is the basis for your financial success. However, building up your human capital does not only take place at the beginning of your career, but also when you have already been working for a few years. You continuously gain experience that improves your qualifications and makes your work more valuable. So invest in yourself as much as you can in your 20s to increase your human capital and lay the foundation for your future wealth. Mistake number 2 is being unsure about your own career path. Certainly, individual circumstances vary greatly. However, it's a reality that many individuals in their 20s have recently graduated from high school and are uncertain about the path they should pursue. It is completely normal to have an orientation phase during this time. However, if this phase extends for too long, there are associated costs involved. These so-called opportunity costs are first of all lost time. During the time you spend orienting yourself, you could have already pursued your true calling. Moreover, starting your professional life later means entering the workforce and earning a salary later. Additionally, there can be psychological pressures, whether from external influences or self-imposed expectations. It is important to acknowledge that no one can expect you to make the perfect decision from the very beginning. Nevertheless, there are steps you can take to discover what truly brings you joy and envision a fulfilling career. Engaging in thorough research on the internet is a good starting point. Explore different professions, identify which ones align with your interests, and consider taking part in internships. While these internships may not offer immediate financial compensation, the practical experience gained is invaluable. Connect with professionals who are already working in the fields that interest you, or seek insights from students studying in corresponding fields you might want to enroll in. Take plenty of time to do this research. At first, it's a difficult task to figure out what truly brings you fulfillment, but once you've found the right path for you, you can hit the ground running. The key is to make a conscious decision about your choice of study or career, rather than settling for an option due to limited alternatives. Let's discuss the third mistake, which is accumulating debt. When we look at the statistics, it's surprising to see the high levels of consumer debt among young people. It's understandable because as adults, you have the ability to engage in financial transactions and obtain credit, which may tempt you to make purchases on credit. However, it's crucial to resist this temptation as much as possible. Firstly, developing the habit of living beyond your means and relying on future earnings is a dangerous path to follow. It's important to realize that spending money you haven't yet earned can have long-term consequences. Secondly, failing to make timely installment payments or experiencing payment defaults can have a negative impact on your credit score. This can complicate matters in the future, such as when you aim to purchase your own house in your 30s. If you carry debts or find yourself over-indebted, it can make it more challenging to secure favorable terms or even qualify for a mortgage. It's crucial to exercise financial discipline and make responsible choices when it comes to borrowing and spending. By doing so, you can avoid the pitfalls of excessive debt and pave the way for a more secure financial future. When discussing debt, it's essential to distinguish between good and bad debts. Bad debt typically refers to consumer debt, which involves spending money on things that depreciate in value over time. On the other hand, there is also good debt, for example, for investments in your human capital. For instance, financing further education or pursuing higher studies on credit may be considered good debt from a human capital perspective. In such cases, taking on debt can be justified as it helps enhance your knowledge, skills, and qualifications, thereby increasing your earning potential in the long run. It's crucial to evaluate the potential returns and benefits of incurring debt for investments that can positively impact your future prospects. By considering the value and potential growth of your human capital, you can make informed decisions about borrowing for educational or career advancement purposes. However, it's still important to exercise caution and explore alternative options, such as scholarships, grants, or other forms of financial support, before relying solely on credit. By making informed choices and considering the long-term benefits, you can effectively manage debt and use it as a tool for personal and professional growth. Mistake number 4 involves succumbing to the consumer behavior of your social circle. During your 20s, you encounter a wide range of new people, such as friends and roommates, and naturally spend a significant amount of time with them. However, it's important to recognize that not everyone shares the same spending habits. It's common for individuals in their 20s to adjust their own spending behavior to match that of their peers. For instance, some may choose to live with wealthier roommates and allocate more money towards rent than initially planned. Others may engage in expensive shared hobbies and become less vigilant about adhering to their budget. This is precisely why it becomes crucial to address the topic of budgeting during this phase of life. As you transition away from relying on your parents for financial matters, it's essential to take control of budgeting and financial planning yourself. Strive for a balanced equation between your income and expenses, ensuring that you can not only cover your living costs, but also set aside a portion each month for savings and investments. By establishing a disciplined approach to budgeting and financial management early on, you can cultivate healthy financial habits that will serve you well in the long run. Remember, it's important to prioritize financial stability and future growth over short-term desires for immediate gratification. Let's delve into mistake number 5, which involves rapidly elevating your lifestyle. Particularly if you were a full-time student before and are now entering the workforce, you'll experience a significant increase in disposable income compared to your frugal student life or training period. It's common for individuals to reward themselves by immediately upgrading their standard of living, purchasing a car, opting for a larger apartment, and indulging in more luxurious expenditures like dining out frequently. Initially, there's no need to criticize this behavior. However, I'd like to propose that it can be beneficial to continue living with a student mindset in certain aspects for a while. This approach offers the advantage of not depleting your entire salary, allowing you to begin accumulating assets without actively sacrificing anything. When you adjust your lifestyle and consumption patterns to a higher level, and then have to scale them back in order to save, the impact is much more pronounced than if you modestly consumed from the start. By establishing a high savings rate from the beginning, setting aside a percentage of your salary, you significantly increase the likelihood of maintaining that savings habit throughout your entire career. This proactive approach to saving sets you on a path to financial success and provides stability for the future. It's important to recognize that if your goal is to achieve long-term financial growth, it's advisable to focus on investing rather than speculation. During favorable market conditions, when stock prices and asset values consistently rise, it may seem easy to make quick money in the stock market. However, navigating through turbulent market periods can be more challenging. To navigate these market phases effectively, I recommend watching this video that explains how to become a successful long-term investor. If you have the desire to engage in speculative activities, I suggest creating a separate portfolio for this purpose. Your primary account should be dedicated to long-term investing, aiming for sustainable profits by investing in strong individual stocks, index funds, or ETFs. The secondary portfolio, on the other hand, serves as your speculative portfolio, where you allocate a small portion of your funds to satisfy your desire for quick money. It's crucial to maintain a clear separation between these two portfolios and their respective investment approaches. Now let's move on to mistake number 7, which is failing to set financial goals. This is a common oversight that can hinder your financial progress. It's critical to set clear and measurable financial goals and work diligently toward them, rather than settling for vague wishes or hopes. Extensive research has consistently shown that people who set specific goals, whether related to their finances or other areas of their lives, are much more successful than those who don't. When you set financial goals, make them as specific and detailed as possible. Write them down and refer to them regularly to stay focused and motivated. For example, you might resolve to accumulate a certain amount of savings by a certain age, or to pay off your debt within a certain time frame. The key is to set goals that are meaningful to you and align with your values and aspirations. It's equally important to create a clear action plan to achieve those goals. Break down your goals into smaller, actionable steps and develop strategies to overcome any challenges or obstacles along the way. Now let's explore the final financial mistake, which is a reluctance to take risks. Your 20s are a time of exploration and flexibility, where you have fewer financial obligations and are less dependent on a stable income compared to later stages of life. Therefore, it's important to embrace this opportunity to step outside your comfort zone and take calculated risks. This doesn't involve speculative investments in the stock market, but rather personal experiences that can enrich your life and enhance your human capital. Consider pursuing adventurous endeavors such as living and studying abroad, immersing yourself in a new language and culture, venturing into entrepreneurship, or even taking on internships in companies that may not perfectly align with your resume, but pique your interest. These experiences beyond the conventional can have a profoundly positive impact on your personal growth and professional development. Fully seize this experimental phase of life by embracing deliberate yet calculated risks. Step beyond the familiar and explore new horizons. These experiences will not only broaden your perspective, but also equip you with valuable skills, resilience, and adaptability. They contribute to your overall human capital, making you a more well-rounded and capable individual. And if you're now wondering what to watch next, have a look at this video on screen I handpicked for you. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.